So when we're talking about how to earn, it's always good to be in the business of necessity. So we're going to talk about Ethereum versus VDE, which is better. With Ethereum, what we saw recently is the Shanghai upgrade, which made Ethereum pop. And when it comes to oil, on the other hand, the OPEC has decided to cut down production. So that is going to raise the demand in oil. They're all necessities because people need to degen and people need oil in order to do anything. So when it comes down to how to earn passive income, which is better, Ethereum versus VDE? So to get down to which is better, first we need to fully understand Ethereum and VDE. So let's start with VDE first because it is much easier to understand.
So as the name implies, or maybe it doesn't, VDE stands for Vanguard Energy ETF. And in this ETF, their top holdings are mainly about energy. I mean, 22.51% goes to Exxon, 16.11% in Chevron, 6.58% in ConocoPhillips. You might often actually drive by one of these guys like Valero, Phillips 66, Marathon, ConocoPhillips on your way back from work.
So think about all the oil that you use in your day-to-day, like driving your kids to school, like going to work. That all requires oil. It requires gas in your car in order to do those actions. But that's not all. The food that's on your table, the restaurants that you go to, that food requires machines in order to produce that food. You know, all the farmers that grow your food, that also requires a huge amount of oil. And let's not talk about the flights, the heating, the trains that you take in order to travel, and not to mention the Amazon deliveries. Those trucks, they require gas and oil in order to bring your deliveries to your front doorstep. And guys, I won't be exaggerating to say that if the oil stopped flowing, we'll be thrown back to the Stone Age yelling yabba dabba doo. And guys, let me know in the comments, am I the only one that's old as dirt, being the only one that actually watched the Flintstone back in the day? So what we're seeing right now is that Ethereum is becoming the online oil revolution. Just like when John D. Rockefeller started Standard Oil ages ago, he really became rich with that one because that was his cash cow. Because industries like trains, planes, cars, they were built on top of oil. So that is what made John D. Rockefeller one of the richest men in US history. And some say he might be even the richest man now if we adjusted his net worth based on inflation. And Ethereum is doing the same thing now. They're building the foundation. If you think about it, NFTs, metaverses, bankrupt crypto companies like FTX and Celsius, they were all built on Ethereum. I mean, we have some good, some bad, but we can agree that Ethereum is still a baby trying to find its feet. What we do know is that those projects that are built on Ethereum, NFTs, metaverses, if you want to trade, if you want to transact in the metaverse, if you even want to create an NFT, that all requires what we call gas fees. And the gas fees in Ethereum is called Ether. So what we established so far is that both Ethereum and VDE are necessities. For Ethereum, in order to do anything, you need to pay gas fees, and the gas fees in Ethereum is called Ether, which is basically the analogy of oil, which we use in the modern day. Now, VDE invests in energy. That's why we see companies like Chevron, Exxon, ConocoPhillips. Those are produces things like petroleum, which are the gas that we use in our cars. So both of them are necessities for the industries that are built on top of them. But in order to establish which one is better, we really have to compare the performance between Ethereum and VDE. So let's take a look at that.
So comparing assets isn't very hard. It's not intimidative at all. Let me just break it down because it's not rocket science. So if we're looking here, we're looking at ETFDP, where I found VDE, the Vanguard Energy ETF, and I just went down to performance over here. And there we are, we're just looking at performance. And ETFTB actually makes it really easy because they allow us to compare, for example, the fund we're looking at to the category average. So we're looking at here, first year return, 1 year return, 8% versus minus 0.94%. 3-year return, 44% versus 40%. 5-year return, 7%, 7.2% versus 1.01%. So obviously Vanguard Energy is a really, really good ETF to invest in, and I might invest in it myself. And on top of that, VDE also pays a dividend. They have an annual dividend yield of 3.9%. So that's really, really good compared to the category average of 2.77%. Now, when we're comparing VDE against Ethereum, it is a little bit different, but we're using financier.com to do the calculations for us. So they already said it for us a year ago, because I'm doing this video on April 21 of 23. So a year ago, if we had this a year ago, then the return would be minus 34%. This is where Ethereum is volatile and risky. I mean, it's even worse than the ETF database category average, in which VDE is in, right? So 0.094 versus 34.88. So let's check the 3-year return. So right now it's 2023, so we'll just change this to 2020. So things look a little bit different if it's 3 years, right? Because if it's 3 years, then our return is astronomical, because it is 1,000%, 1,041% return versus anything in VDE or its category. It completely blows it out of the water. So we're not even gonna have to talk about that. If you get to pick, you're gonna pick Ethereum in this case. So 5 years ago, 2018, the return is 224%, still blows out of the water VDE in its 5 years and VDE's category at 1%. So does that mean that you're gonna pick Ethereum? No, because Ethereum is crypto. Crypto is much more risky, you know, high risk, high reward. So it really depends on what kind of investor are you in, a conservative investor or someone who is willing or can take a little bit of risk. Now, last but not least, we have to talk about dividend yield, right? Because we saw that Vanguard Energy VDE actually gives a 3.9% dividend. Well, when it comes to crypto, when it comes to Ethereum, their form of dividend is in the form of staking reward. And the reward for Ethereum for staking is 4.25%. So with that staking yield, 4.25%, does that mean that you should go with Ethereum? Not exactly, because there's always a catch. And the catch with Ethereum is that you need 32 Ethereum in order to earn that staking yield. And an Ethereum right now goes for around what, like 2K per Ethereum. So you need 64K in order to earn that 4.25% yield and actually have an Ethereum node is what we call it. It's a whole another topic for another time, but you really have to ask yourself whether it's better to go with Ethereum or with something safer with VDE, because we can see that when crypto falls, it falls.
So if we're talking about pure performance numbers, then Ethereum is the winner, hands down. But we can't just look at it like that, because Ethereum is like 1,000,000 times more volatile and more risky than VDE. So when it comes down to it, there really is no which one is better, Ethereum or VDE. It is really based on your risk tolerance, which is different for everybody. Now, I'll be very upfront and transparent with you that I think that Ethereum right now is a very risky play, because the SEC is going after it. They're trying to get people to agree that Ethereum is a security. And if they determine that Ethereum is a security, then let's just say that the projects built on Ethereum and Ethereum itself might be snubbed out. And the reasons for that is a whole nother topic for another video. But right now, if you were to ask me if I were going to invest VDE or Ethereum, I'd probably put 80% into VDE and 20% into Ethereum, just because Ethereum right now is just too risky with the SEC going after it. But if you ask me whether I will buy it right now, the answer to that is absolutely not, because right now I still think that both VDE and Ethereum are overpriced for the value that they're bringing to the table right now. So I'm going to wait a little bit longer for them to dip a little bit more before I pick any of them up. Now remember that none of this should be taken as financial advice, because I'm just some YouTuber who is not so sure about what he's talking about. But what I do know what I'm talking about is that when you don't have anything to invest in, which is a lot of us right now that are just sitting on cash, the next best thing to do is start building cash cow businesses. And the last video I made on how to build 3 easy AI businesses is the next one that you should check out right after this one, and you can check that out right here.